In the world of Ghost City, domestic-based offenses are considered especially chaotic. In Ghost City, these crimes are investigated by an elite squad known as the Special Domestic Unit. These are their stories.
Morning, Joey.
Morning, Captain.
Your wife called. She said she's on her way to drop off your lunch and she's dropping off your son.
Alright, I have a question. When will Emily come back?
She's set to come back to next week. Anyway, I need you and Galaxy temporarily assigned once again.
Okay, cool. We get to be partners like we used to be at the 16th Precinct since 2014.
Alright, finish up those case reports and affidavits and give them to ADA Tom Rook.
Hey honey.
Hi babe.
Morning, it's the big night, Hudge. Are you ready to head down to your award ceremony?
Listen, I got to tell you something. Oh, good morning Major and good morning Lieutenant, how you doing? How you feeling? Okay?
What, Joey?
I need you to start prepping Rebecca for the Regents next week. She's already failed last year and she cannot, and I mean cannot, fail again.
Oh, for crying out loud, Joey, she's taking it in June again.
Hey, she's the one that said she wanted to get a Regents diploma. Not me. If she fails this one again, she's not going to get it and she'll have to go to summer school. Now all she has to do is pass this one to make up for her math aka algebra Regents last year from June. If she passes, she'll get the credit. I've already contacted the DOE.
Alright, well, I'll be back to pick him up later. See you guys later at dinner.
See you.
Liam, we got trouble, get out here. Holy shit, if it's that same crazy maniac women that lock her ass up downstairs in the jail cells.
Joey, we got a 1056 and a 1034 out by Burlington Road.
You guys from SDU?
Yeah, Captain Galaxy, my partner Detective Swanson.
Captain, I'm Lieutenant Frank Maxwell.
So what do we got?
One female dead from falling. Early 30s, she committed suicide after being told to kill herself by many people that are friends with her husband. And then we got the victim's friend over there being treated for burn markers and assault markings and other wounds.
Hi, I'm Detective Joey Swanson. You feeling okay and alright?
Ugh, no, I guess. I feel traumatized and like everything hurts like really bad too much.
Alright, well, I'll tell you what. We're going to have you go on down with the paramedics to the hospital. An officer will be riding with you to get some information. Okay?
Alright, I guess.
Joey. I've already processed the crime scene. We got a few things to cover down. Her name was Jennifer Mills. She had a husband age 32 and her residence is on the 4th floor.
Hey Doc, we know what the cause of death is yet?
Well, it's a suicide, obviously. Although, however, I don't think she died from this because I've noticed there are wounds on the genital area. There are also puncture wounds. We won't know for sure until we get to the ME's office.
Yeah, alright, thanks.
When you go to the hospital, ask the second victim witness over there if she knew about the husband.
Alright, bet. I'll meet you back at the station house then.
Victim's name is Abigail Griffin. She came in with bruise marks and open flesh wounds all over her body, and she had 2 broken bones in her legs.
Does she have any family?
Not that I can find. I can't seem to find her husband. She's in room 6CB.
Ms. Griffin, hi, I'm Detective Joey Swanson. Are you okay?
She's dead.
Alright, Ms. Griffin, I know it's a bit difficult to talk about what happened right now, but bear with me as I need to know what happened. What happened to you? Do you know where you got those bruises from?
I'm sorry, I really can't.
Look, Abigail. The person who hurt you is still out there, and it is my job along with the rest of the police department to find out who hurt you and track and hunt him down.
It's just, you wouldn't understand. He's a cop.
Your husband is a cop? Like, what cop? What's his name?
I don't know what happened, I wasn't there for the full thing, it's just. All I know is that he is the one who kept slapping him around and he beat me up.
Did you see what happened when the woman committed suicide beforehand?
That woman is my sister. I don't know why she did, but I saw my husband running out with a knife.
Alright, what's your husband's name?
Officer Pedro Fax. He's from the 14th precinct.
He's a cop?
Yes.
Here.
Yep.
Well, what's his name?
His name is Officer Pedro Fax. And yes, he apparently works here at this precinct.
Oh, that guy. The guy's got a history of excessive use of force a lot. He acts like he's on drugs, but he's not. He has a wife too. Bring him in here.
You wanted to see me, Captain?
Yeah, we wanted you to answer a few questions.
Alright, okay then. So, talk to me, what's on your mind?
Are you aware your wife is in the hospital right now?
Yeah, I heard about what happened this morning. I just couldn't go because I got called into work very early.
So you're aware her sister committed suicide?
I know, I tried talking some sense into her. I just couldn't convince her to move on with her life.
So, how did your wife ended up getting bruised?
Oh, she's on pain medications and she always takes some sort of drug. She and her sister had a fight that day too.
Huh?
Your wife said that you were there running out with a knife.
What? Why would she say that?
I don't know, you tell me. What time did you clock in for your patrol?
I don't know, like around 8 o'clock.
She died at around 7:30 this morning. You live far from this precinct. How could you have possibly clocked in at 8 o'clock on the dot when the accident happened at around 7:30?
What? Are you suspecting me that I had something to do with her death? I mean, come on, you've heard the medical examiner's ruling.
The medical examiner did also say there were fresh stab wounds in the genital area.
You better start telling us the truth now, because we have technicians processing the apartment like right now as we speak. So far we haven't found that knife yet.
What is this? I got 23 years on the force. Now who are you going to believe? Me or brain dead woman?
Where were you around 7:30?
Look, if you want to know about anything else, talk to my union rep. I've got to get back to patrol.
No, you don't, officer. You're being placed on desk duty.
With all due respect, Captain, you work for the Detective Bureau, not the Patrol Bureau. So I don't answer to you, so kindly fuck off.
You saw how he disobeyed your authority, right? And he cursed at you.
Yeah, well, I can have him written up for that and reported to his sergeant.
That guy is lying through his chipped teeth. He did not clock in at 8 o'clock. And his version and side of the story just doesn't make any sense, you know.
Alright, well, you go clock his movements and check what time he came in. I'll go notify IAB and his lieutenant and the other patrol captain.
Yeah, well, this should be interesting. A 911 call came in at 7:30 a.m. from a Mr. William. The first cops on scene were from the 1-4.
What did the report say?
It said a woman is being killed.
Come on, we're taking a ride. Mr. William, do you know the neighbors next door?
Weird couple. Cops were always called to their apartment.
Really? What for?
Just regular domestic violence calls, you know. The same old useless, the domestic dispute calls.
Did you see what happened this morning at around 7:30 a.m.?
I was half asleep, so no. I did hear screaming and in my sleep, and I heard sirens in the background. I have tendencies of hearing stuff in my sleep. I try not to focus on it, lad.
Mr. William, do you know the husband?
Oh sure, I've talked to him a few times before. He's a cop, not so experienced one, I should say.
And who are you to judge?
You're talking to a former lieutenant, detective, and I was serving in the U.S. Marines during Operation Desert Storm in the Gulf War. He always looked like he was so damn high. His wife did mention that he was taking some sort of drugs when he almost attacked me 2 months ago. I remember I saw him with a whole bag of meth. I don't think he realizes that it's an illegal drug.
Well then, in your experience, do you think he was on any drug or something?
Yeah, he looked like he was definitely on ketamine or something.
What time did you wake up this morning?
Well, let's see, I woke up at around 8 o'clock this morning because a cop banged on my door asking if I knew the neighbors next door.
The dispatch said you made the 911 call.
I made it when I heard the screaming, then I went back to sleep.
Well then. Thank you for your time, Mr. William.
He's killing
her. Come here before I'm about to lose it.
And that's it.
Seems like this guy has had enough of these two going at it and fighting each other again.
Do we know what time the call came in?
Yep, around 7:30. It seems that cops were already called to the scene if he heard sirens in his sleep.
And who was nearby?
We got units from the 1-5 who was nearby in the downtown North District who came right after because they were just coming back from another call.
Alright, I'll have Taylor and Green go find those officers who responded from the 1-5 and the D&D.
Can you try and see when the call ended?
Well, it seems that he was on the phone with us for about only 10 minutes and that was it. However, it was mostly just us getting information from him. The guy said the husband was present.
Well, the husband is the only one the guy is referring to when he said he. And then the guy is killing her. But the call stated that there was a suicide involved.
Well, that means someone else from the outside must have made the 911 call.
Can you track that?
Sure, let me try.
Someone is about to jump off the building. Please help.
That was it. The other dispatch center sent cops from your precinct over.
Liam, time to go. Galaxy has fax in the 14th Precinct Patrol Captain's office.
You wanted to see me, sir?
Yeah, I want you to go over to Health Services and take a drug test, officer.
A drug test? What for?
For cause one, Captain Galaxy from the Detective Bureau has brought some facts to my attention that I think warranted.
I don't get this, Captain.
What? You have a problem taking the test?
Absolutely not, I got nothing to hide. I wouldn't. I would like to know who's spreading rumors about me.
No one is spreading rumors, officer.
Health Services is expecting you tomorrow morning. As long as you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about, right?
Yes, sir.
You know where you're going. Springfield Clinic.
Yeah, I know where I'm going. Hey, Joey. You and your detective buddies really think you got me good, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I got a hot flash for you, Joey. You don't got dick. I am gonna ace the drug test, alright? And I'm gonna take the results and shove them up your ass.
That lying son of a bitch.
You can't say that again. He didn't clock in at 8 o'clock, he didn't clock in until 10 o'clock.
And we need to find that murder weapon. I'm going to check his car. Well, looky here, what do we have in this thing? As I suspected, one knife was transferred to the evidence.
I did some digging around and turns out Internal Affairs was looking at him for gun dealing.
Yeah, well, get this. Tell me why Fax's name came up when an officer was caught on camera planting drugs during a traffic stop back in 2013.
Excuse me. I'm Lieutenant Daniel, this is Detective Jacobs. I'm assuming you know why we're here?
Yeah, Officer Pedro Fax. He's not here, he's
taking a drug test. Yeah, we already know.
Captain, do you know if he passed it or not?
Unknown at the moment. I think he's still taking it.
Well, regardless if he passed it or not, we're here to collect him. We've got him on gun smuggling.
What proof do you have? We got witnesses placing him at the time his wife died. We also got him on assault.
Yes, we're aware of the suicide that happened. The ME actually ruled it a homicide, we heard, because she was dead before she hit the ground. She was stabbed.
Well, if I were you, I'd wait till he gets back. The captain will receive his test results.
Okay, thanks.
Hey Taft, you pull the security cameras from the street when the suicide happened?
I couldn't find Fax walking or running out of the apartment building. However, a cop car was parked outside.
Well, I'd like to know what precinct it was from. Does it say?
Clear match, 14th precinct.
Same car number from when I checked the car that had a knife outside. Whose phone is that?
Oh shit, it's my phone. Galaxy. Oh, is that a fact? Well, that's great. Thanks. He tested positive for steroids, methamphetamines and cocaine. They are faxing the results over to the patrol captain's office now.
You wanted to see me, Captain? You get those test results back?
Close the door, fax. Let me have your gun and your shield.
What for?
Your test results came back with multiple positives. Anabolic steroids.
Hold it. Now steroids are not on the banned substances list.
Amphetamines are.
There is no way I could have tested positive from that. It's got to be a mistake.
Testing's a lot more sophisticated than it used to be, fax. You can't cover your tracks with a little pseudoephedrine anymore.
You're terminated as of 2400 hours tomorrow. You should report to Police Central Headquarters for out processing. In the morning. Your gun and your shield.
This is a setup. If you think that I am gonna sit still for this, then you're crazy. I'm gonna get a lawyer, and I'm gonna sue your asses.
You have two listed on your 10 card. Give the other one to the sergeant before you leave the building.
You people haven't heard the last of this.
Even better news, Pedro Fox, you're under arrest for unlawful possession of illegal weapons and possession of narcotics.
What the fuck is this shit?
Oh, it's the shit you will see a lot of in court.
Pedro Fox, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can, and will be used against you in a court of law.
Where's Internal Affairs?
IAB has given us permission and allowed us to question former Officer Pedro Fox regarding the homicide of his wife.
What? No way. My client has nothing to say about an irrelevant situation. My client was charged with possession of narcotics and unlawful possession of firearms.
Yeah, that is true, counselor, but your client was seen in possession of narcotics at the time of the homicide. Therefore we have every reason to discuss the case.
But what's there to talk about? The medical examiner already ruled it was suicide.
Wrong facts. The medical examiner already ruled that she was dead before she hit the ground. So it was a homicide. The victim who you assaulted placed you at the scene. So someone killed her.
Why the hell would my own fucking wife say I killed her?
I don't know, Pedro. It's because you were probably so high that day you must have stabbed her when you were on narcotics.
Meth isn't even a narcotic. It's just an illegal drug.
Where did you go after the homicide?
I already fucking told you I went to work that day. I clocked in at 8 o'clock.
Wrong. The sergeant said you didn't clock in until 10 o'clock, so we're going to ask you again. Where did you go after your wife died?
I just went to cool off, you know. I told you I tried talking some sense into her. She just didn't listen.
You mean after you shoved a knife in her genital area?
What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't even have a knife that day.
Well, that's funny. What do you call this?
Where did you get that?
Found it in your patrol sector car.
What? He can't do that, can he?
Detective, you just violated his Fourth Amendment rights. I mean, obviously that won't be used in court as it's inadmissible.
Yeah, well, you see, normally it would be inadmissible if it were to be a private car, except patrol sector cop cars are owned by the city. So therefore, by belonging to the city, it's government property regardless. Which is our property.
You were the one who stabbed your own wife in the genital area, then started slapping her sister around to make sure she was coerced.
You see, right now we got you on murder to an assault with a deadly weapon. Unless you tell us where you got the cocaine.
Wait, what? What do you mean? Why do I got to tell you?
You've been Mirandized. If you'd like to make a statement and tell us where you got the drugs from, that will help us determine whether the district attorney will even plan to make a deal, in which I doubt.
The drugs, Pedro, where did you get them? Barney Red. Are you Barney Red?
Yes, and you are?
GCPD, you're under arrest for possession of narcotics.
Shit, bad enough I was beaten before.
Docket number 32222024, People vs. Pedro Fax, 1 count domestic abuse, 1 count promoting a suicide, 2 counts assault with a deadly weapon, 1 count possession of narcotics and 1 count of unlawful possession of a firearm.
Quite a list. How do you plead?
Not guilty on all counts and charges, Your Honor.
So exactly how much are we charging the defendant to get out of jail, Ms. Dash?
Remand without bail, Your Honor.
Put away your claws, counselor. My client is not a flight risk. He has ties to the community. He served as one of Ghost City's finest. This is just a blatant attempt to further smear him.
Your Honor, he has been known a menace to women within the areas he lived in. His crimes are not confined within the state of the end.
Mr. Fax is willing to surrender his passport. Not to mention the detectives questioned him on false grounds and information.
Well, that's an issue you'd have to bring up with a trial judge, counselor, but personally I do not feel that former member of Gossity's finest would be a major threat. $500,000 cash or bond, and we'll also hold on to the defendant's passport for the remainder of this trial.
Do we have any idea who the drug dealer is?
Barney Red, convicted domestic abuser, did time last year for hate crime.
Right, wasn't he exposed online before?
Discord, pretty much. He quit YouTube after the fact.
I'm wondering if I should handle this case over to the Public Integrity Bureau.
The last time you did that, they threw out the case on purpose. You want to go down that road again?
You're right, but for Barney Red we'll need to get him convicted for possession of drugs. Do we know if he runs a drug ring?
No, but there were tip lines reported where Barney Red had been attempting murder, doxing, domestic abuse, death threats, and cyberbullying. Though no case was opened yet.
This guy was only charged and did time for hate crime. There's got to be some way we can put him back in prison.
Let's focus on Pedro Fox first. Captain Galaxy, can you explain your history with the defendant?
Pedro Fox and I always had our own differences. He has had an extensive history of unlawful and excessive use of force, in which 9 out of the 10 times he was only suspended.
Was the defendant Pedro Fox ever looked into for any claims of murder or any history of domestic abuse?
In an interview he had stated to detectives that he felt stressed out while having to take care of his wife who works. Meanwhile, Pedro Fox, who has been a cop for 15 years.
What is your profession in the Goanimate City Police Department, Captain?
I'm the second in command for the GCPD Special Domestic Unit at the 14th Precinct.
And in your experience as a domestic crimes detective and a supervisor, would you say that the defendant would have a motive to kill?
Well, based off on how long he was unlawfully taking drugs for while serving on the force and known for his anger issues, I'd say pretty much.
Captain Galaxy, when detectives interviewed the victim's sister, did the sister confirm that the defendant was in the apartment at the time of the victim's death?
The victim's sister, who does not wish to have her identity revealed, has confirmed to us that the defendant, Mr. Fox, was in the apartment with a knife at the time and then ran away.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Captain, how long have you been at the 14th Precinct? This year makes 10 years.
Objection, relevance.
Getting to it, Your Honor. Goes to the witness credibility.
I'll allow it. Please answer the question, Captain.
How long was Officer Pedro working at the 14th Precinct? Hard to say. I don't really keep track of officers like that, as it is not my job, but I can say he's been around maybe 5 years or less. So, explain to me how this works. Why is there 2 captains for 1 unit?
Objection, relevance. Why are we talking about the structure of the 16th Precinct?
Sustained. Get to your point, counselor.
Captain Galaxy, you previously testified that the defendant was seen in the apartment at the time of the victim's death. Is that correct? That is correct, yes. The defendant stated he was trying to talk his own wife out of suicide. So how does this work? The defendant assisting in his wife's suicide?
The victim's sister stated he was slapping his wife around and stabbed him when she jumped from the apartment window, meaning she was already dead before she hit the ground.
But for all we know, he could have been cooking in the kitchen with the knife, and he probably ran because he felt traumatized.
Well, that's got to be the most stupidest excuses I've ever heard. As GCPD cops, we're trained to handle graphic situations like that. Suicides, for example.
Detective, would you say that you and Captain Galaxy were out to get the defendant? because originally my client was charged with possession of narcotics and unlawful possession of a weapon. However, in the interrogation we talked about something extremely different. Would this be a result of the defendant speaking up against your superior?
That's completely false. The defendant insubordinated the captain, which resulted in his patrol captain having him terminated. At the time he was on drugs because he tested positive.
Then where does unlawful possession of a weapon come from?
I'm concerned the jury is buying his act.
That lawyer is an idiot, I can tell you that for sure.
We need to convince the jury that Mr. Pedro was high enough to assist a suicide and was high enough to shove a knife in her body.
Galaxy. You the chief?
Battalion Chief Dallas, Station 120, GCPD.
Captain Galaxy and Detective Swanson. What happened here?
Well, your suspect for your investigation committed suicide himself. This time through vehicle. No one assisted him.
Any idea how we can prove it was suicide? Like how
Police
did he
found
crash?
ski marks. Witnesses nearby said a car swerved into the wall on purpose.